Get up out of those weeds. Nice one. Golly. That was a little better. This is like one of my favorite ways to fish. Just grab yourself a wacky rig. I tell you, it is like potentially the #1 fish catching lure that we have. I just won the Mississippi River event throwing a wacky rig. I think every fish but one I weighed was on a Berkley Maxscent, the General 5-inch. Oh, that was another one. And it's just hard to beat a wacky rig, especially if you're fishing shallow. I mean, in this case, I'm fishing a little bit of everything. I've got scattered pads, and there's one, and wood, little guy. And then out to this side, I've got just a big grass flat. So I'm kind of just fan casting all over the place and letting this Maxscent do its thing, where it just kind of disperses the scent, which is what it's supposed to do. It's the funny thing is, I actually got a lot of questions from viewers during all the videos I did about the win on the Mississippi River about why I was throwing Maxscent for the Berkley Maxscent series for largemouth, because the assumption is it's a smallmouth thing, and it is really good for smallmouth. You know, it kind of, the Maxscent line of baits came out when the flatworm came out, and the flatworm has been dominating smallmouth events ever since. It's, in my opinion, the best smallmouth plastic ever created. You know, so from that standpoint, it makes sense that people would recognize Maxscent as a smallmouth thing, but it's just as good for largemouth. It's completely overlooked for largemouth. And I think one of the biggest characteristics to that is just my personal opinion on it. But it's so good for smallmouth because in most instances, smallmouth are set up in current related areas. Now, I know a lot of you are like, well, but we're not talking river fishing. And I'm not talking river fishing either. I'm talking, if you look at the majority of smallmouth, whether you're on the Great Lakes, whether you're on big natural lakes, whether you're fishing river systems, smallmouth are set up wherever there is current. There you cannot find current that is too strong for smallmouth. One of the keys to the Maxscent line of baits is that the baits have a material that actually absorbs the scent, but then disperses it in the water, so it leaves like almost like an oil slick that comes from it. And that is, in theory, better anytime that you're fishing in current, because what's happening is if you're letting your bait soak, it's taking that scent downstream. And Berkley's done videos on this where you can actually see the scent disperse out of the bait over time. So the idea is the longer your bait sits there, the more of a scent trail it creates. And if you're fishing around current, what actually happens is that current creates a really good scent trail as it pulls it downstream. That current could be natural current from a actual river flow. It could be current from wind direction. But in either case, smallmouth are going to be set up in those areas where you have a lot of current movement. And that's why the Maxscent is so good for them, is it actually allows the smallmouth to find the bait a lot faster. And kind of what it's done, in my opinion, is it's made the Maxscent line a smallmouth dominated concept when it really works just as good for largemouth. I mean, you know, I absolutely love the Maxscent plastics. Now, I do throw both this traditional Berkeley power bait line as well, but if I'm fishing slow, so throwing a wacky rig where I'm letting my bait just sit around, if I'm flipping mats or flipping heavy cover, a lot of times I'm throwing that the Maxscent creature hog. If I'm dragging a jig, a lot of times I'll use the Maxscent creature hog as a trailer. In either case, really what it comes down to is if I'm fishing slow, letting my bait soak, letting that scent disperse out of the bait, at that point, that's where I'm really looking to use the Maxscent line. If I'm fishing fast, you know, let's say I'm just kind of covering water, I'm throwing a vibrating jig, and I've got a power bait power stinger on the back, I'm not as concerned about that scent trail because my bait is in and out of the area so fast because it's a moving bait that the fish aren't going to have as much time to locate that scent to help them locate my bait. At that point, the taste of the power bait's more important because if they bite it, they're going to hold on to it or they might inhale it better. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to me how the power bait Maxscent line has been so overlooked. I mean, you look at guys like John Cox. I mean, John Cox is a shallow water magician who's made a living off of using the Maxscent, the general, the same thing that I'm throwing right now. And from that standpoint, I mean, when you see guys that are using it and having a ton of success, and a lot of times too, if you want to pay attention to what they're doing, a lot of times it's simply about letting your bait soak. You know, like John Cox is one of the slowest fishermen I've ever seen with a wacky rig. And a lot of times it's all about sight fishing. So if he sees a fish swimming, he'll throw his bait way out in front of it and just let it sit on the bottom and let that fish find that trail, and you'll eventually see him come eat that bait. It is pretty crazy when you actually can track them and watch them. They're almost like a hound dog at times. But I'm gonna get back to it. I know everyone's like, well, this is Berkeley sales pitch, but it's really not. It's just a good product. So I'm gonna get back to catching them. It's a good morning. Fish seem to be biting this thing. So I'm just gonna keep going down the bank. I'm gonna explore whatever I can find. If it's a clump of grass or a lay down log or some docks, I'm gonna fish it. And we're gonna see what we can catch. Feels good. Ooh, nice one. That's a thick fish. It's probably 2 3/4, fat across the back, fat that way. Good healthy summer bass. I love it. Another decent one. I gotta tell you, that little hook, I get a lot of questions why I like to throw the little finesse wide gap. And it's because that little hook catches big fish. It really comes down to a lot of times what I'm fishing too. In this case, I'm fishing just a big weed flat. And the small gap in that hook it grabs less weed is really what it comes down to. If you throw a hook with a bigger gap on it, you end up getting a lot more weeds caught up in it. You know, in this case, basically what I'm saying is if you had a longer hook up to here, you can get a lot more weeds balled up in it. That smaller gap, when the weeds get in there, a lot of times I can snap it and break it out and continue my cast. And I really feel like a smaller hook also leads to more bites. I just feel like the bigger the hook is coming off, the more I tend to just not get as many bites. And maybe that's a confidence thing, but as I've always said on the channel, confidence is king. So if there's something you're doing that makes sense to you or you feel comfortable doing, don't worry what other people tell you. Come on. What do we got? Ooh, nice one. Good one. It's another good one. Well, I think we're gonna end it with that. Another nice 3-pound class fish on the Berkley Powerbait Maxscent. The purple bags, guys. Do not overlook the purple bags. These things are the Maxscent. Telling you, if you like to fish slow, that's where they really shine. You can use them on everything, but if you're a flipper, if you like to use your wacky rigs, if you like to use shaky heads, the bottom hopper, all that stuff, just give it a try if you're not fishing it for largemouth, because it's completely overlooked. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, new video coming out tomorrow.